All right, welcome to Yosemite today. What a beautiful place to read Save Me a Seat. We are getting really far into the story. It's getting pretty exciting. I'm kind of curious to hear what happens this time after all the drama that happened last week. Chapter 26 is from Joe's perspective. Here we go. Mia is hogging the bed, so I sleep crooked and wake up with a crick in my neck. Sunshine is leaking in under the bottom of the window shade and hitting me smack in the face. That's weird. It's usually still dark when I get up. I roll over and look at the clock. It's 10:45. Holy smokes, I shout, jumping out of bed. I throw on some clothes, shove my homework in my backpack, and run downstairs without even tying my shoes first, while Mia, my dog, followed. My parents are sitting at the kitchen table drinking coffee. What's going on? I asked my mom. Why didn't you wake me up? And aren't you supposed to be at work? Bertie from the kitchen crew offered to cover for me, and you're not going to school today, my mother says quietly. I'm not? Are you going to say hello to your old man? My dad asks. I go over and give him a hug. I haven't seen him in over a week, and since he doesn't shave when he's on the road, his beard is pretty scratchy. Is it my imagination, or did you grow another foot while I was gone? He asks. I don't know, I say. Maybe. Does somebody want to tell me what's going on? Have a seat, Joey, my mom tells me. I'll get your breakfast. Usually on school days I eat a couple of bowls of cereal and a smoothie in the morning, but my mother has made huevos rancheros. She and my dad have already eaten, so she loads up a plate with fried eggs and corn tortillas covered in salsa and sets it on the table in front of me. Making me hungry. Sprinkle a little of this on top, she says, setting a small glass dish of chopped up green stuff next to me. It's cilantro, filled with vitamin K. Let me know if you want hot sauce, too. Huevos rancheros is one of my favorites, but for the second time this week, I've lost my appetite. Are we about to have a family meeting? I ask. My parents look at each other. Your mom and I do need to talk to you, Joe, my father says. Sounds like a family meeting to me. What do we need to talk about? I ask, even though I'm pretty sure I already know. My father turns to my mother. What's the boy's name again? He asks. Dylan, she says. Dylan Samreen. Here we go. What kind of name is Samreen? My father asks. He's Indian, I say. What's his problem with you, Joe? I shrug. Have you ever tried sitting down with Dylan and telling him how you feel? My mother asks. Come on, Gracie, my father says, shaking his head. Don't you know you can't talk to people like that? Doesn't work. What are you suggesting, Kirk? That he punch the boy in the nose? Says my mother. It would serve him right. These people come over here expecting to have it all. They ought to show some respect. What people? I ask. Immigrants, my father says. They're visitors in this country. Who do they think they are, pushing us around? Dylan's not a visitor. He was born here, I say. His dad's a doctor. You're missing the point, Joe, my father says. The point is you have to man up and fight back. Lower your voice, Kirk, my mother says. Here you go again, Grace. Stop babying him, or he'll never learn to stand on his own 2 feet. I know how to stand on my own 2 feet, I say. I do it every day. You just don't know about it. You wouldn't even know who Dylan Samreen was if Mom hadn't taken the job at Einstein. We've been over this already, she says. I didn't have a choice. I needed the work. You promised me you'd stay out of my business, Mom. You crossed your heart and promised. Mia whimpers. I can't stand it when I get upset. I reach down and pat her head. Your well-being is my business too, my mother says. Great. Now she's crying. How long has this Samreen boy been bothering you? My father asks. I shrug. Why didn't you say anything about it? Asks my mother. I can handle it, I say. I'm going to call and speak to your principal right now, my father says, reaching for the phone. If you're not going to stand up to that bully yourself, I'll do it for you. No! I shout, banging my fists on the table. No, no, no. You want me to talk about my feelings? You want me to stand up for myself? Fine. Here it goes. I hate that Mom works at my school now. I hate that she keeps breaking her promises and butting into my business. I hate that she has to wear that stupid apron and blow that dumb whistle in front of everybody. I hate that you're never home anymore, Dad. I hate that you think it's okay to call up my principal without even asking me how I feel about it first. I hate that you're always telling me to man up and that you don't like people who aren't like you. Indians, you mean? He asks. No, Dad, I mean me. What are you talking about? He says. You think I don't like you? Why don't you ever turn down the TV when Mom asks you to? Now, wait a second, my dad says. I'm not the bad guy here. I'm only trying to... Let him finish, Kirk, my mom says, reaching over and putting her hand on his arm. It feels kind of like I'm throwing up. I can't control what's coming out of my mouth, and it's not going to stop until I'm empty. I hate that kids think I'm dumb and that teachers don't like me. I hate being afraid to raise my hand even when I know the answer. I hate that I'm taller than everyone else in my class, including my teacher, and that the only real friend I have is a dog. Most of all, I hate Dylan Samreen because he never, ever lets me forget who I am. That's how I feel. Are you happy now? I ask. Then I pick up my plate, scrape my eggs into the trash, and go upstairs to my room. Oh man, Joe sure is going through a lot. We'll have to see what happens in the next few chapters. Next up is chapter 27 from Ravi's perspective. See you then.